yourself back in time and start to visualize things of when we first heard that song and who we was with and all that. We could see all that in our mind just from hearing the song because it'll bring our memory to us. Well, some people can't see in their mind, and some people can't feel music. Some people don't have the ability to get goosebumps or the hairs on their neck. Like, and I try to talk about these things as often as possible because, you know, a lot of people are not aware of what these things are. So people don't really understand how profound the statement "health is wealth" is. They don't really understand the gifts that we've been given from our creator, or what true value is. You know what I'm saying? So
right. And I guess the last thing I want to bring up is the piezoelectric joint that you had talked about. In fact, I'm gonna tie it in with the comment the brother Cosmo put a comment
real quick before you get into that, King Herc. I'm gonna let you get into that. We have a super chat. Nisha says, when the conversation is dope, it makes the argument fall by the wayside. This is an excellent show. I appreciate the knowledge. Peace to you, Sister Nisha. Appreciate
yeah, but hey, listen, I appreciate Sister Nisha. I definitely want to do the piezoelectric joint, but I got to get out the way, man. My man Yara getting ready to come up here and do his thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Yara actually rescheduled about 5:30. He said he had something to take care of. He's going to be here tomorrow, same time.
We got a few more minutes then. Yeah.
We can take our time. No rush up out of here.
Yara.
That's crazy.
Yep, Yara will be here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Don't miss it. And real quick, go to a word from our sponsors before we get back to King Herc. And here's the tournament that brought this all together. If you're not subscribed over here at Titans Debate League, get your butts over here.
These are not just speakers. These are thinkers, forged in fire. Warriors of words stepping into destiny. Welcome to the Coliseum of arguments, where logic clashes with conviction and ideas spill like blood in the sand. 16 titans, 16 minds, one path to immortality. They come seeking truth, they fight for redemption, they burn for revenge. Featuring the intellectual elite of the Titans Debate League. Every round a new war, every word a new weapon. Every titan ready to fall or rise in glory. This is not debate, this is combat. Step into the Coliseum of arguments. Only the brave speak here. Are you not entertained?
Actually, I'm not entertained since you asked the question. And I'm trying to figure out how y'all let my man Anu Kakarot lose in the first round. Like that's.
And I'm trying to get in touch with him, tell him you was asking about him, but he ain't got no motion back there on the Facebook page and stuff. But I'm gonna definitely make sure that you brought him up.
Because I think the way y'all judged it, y'all must have miscounted the votes and all that. Y'all,
man, he was horrible, man. I whooped him, bro. He went up against me. It wasn't his fault, man. It wasn't his fault, man. He just, ran into.
All right, well then, if he went up against you, Suave, then I gotta eat that.
And maybe we can get you as a special guest judge on a few of these debates coming up.
I wouldn't mind popping in. Sure,
that would be dope.
Go ahead, Herc. I do got two small questions, but I know it's on Herc. Go ahead, guys.
King Herc, it's on you.
Yeah. The Pezio Zoe joke. I'm gonna tie it into the comment that brother Cosmo asked as well. He asked a question on it. Because for me, as my background, since having a background in mathematics, I consider myself an Amos Wilsonist. Amos Wilson used to always say, when you take them classes at these universities, you need to look at it from a black perspective, a black point of view, and start asking the question, how does this help black people, or how does it harm black people, stuff like that, and stuff. And so when I was always in my classes, I always just I would look at stuff, and I would I would wonder, can this apply to this? And for me, so I look at it and I could see the topological invariance that they created for the Giza Plateau. And that's because I'm looking at it from a topological point of view. And so I understand the mathematics that went into it. And so when you brought up the piezoelectric joint, I was like, oh, wait a minute, yo. I was wondering, like, do you see as well the piezoelectric I guess ability or applications that they had at that time? And so brother that's my question. Like, could you see that? And brother Kaz asked, could you speak on you spoke on the piezoelectric in the bones in the body? Is the body electromagnetic? Can you explain the source of the positive negative charge in the body? That's what he asked. So I was just saying, could you see an application of the piezoelectric that they had at the time? He was.
Let me try to write that down, because my man said I got one more question. That's like 17 more questions. Hold on, let me get that. So piezoelectric, and you piezoelectric, like what, in the pyramid?
Yeah. Do you see an application? Because I mean, for me, I don't want to say, you know what I'm saying, what I see. I mean, I'm gonna say it anyway, but I just wanted to see what did you come up with? And yeah, but that's what I asked. Okay, and then there's a comment in the question as well about it, if you want to.
Hold up. You're trying to get me to go into the supreme wisdom lessons and all that. Hold up.
Let me find that comment too.
Positive and negative source. All right, so that's not that many questions. I'm exaggerating, but that's so. You asked for applicant. Go ahead. What you saying?
No, I'm saying brother Cosmo asked that question about the positive and negative charge in the body.
Okay. Yeah.
He said, "Can you explain that?"
No doubt. So with piezoelectric in Kemet, right? So in Kemet, they just so advanced, man. And then you got to deal with so many years of, the theft and the robbery, and so there's speculation. There's things that we can speculate on, and there's still some stuff now that we can, still speculate. We that's masonry, operative and speculative. You know what I'm saying? So we can speculate on because they had a material in Kemet called faience, right? And so faience is made out of semiconductor material, right? So that opens up a whole rabbit hole on what did they know about what the material was that they were using. And the funny thing is, everybody down-regulated. Oh, they didn't know what they were using. They stumbled onto that. I was like, okay. So they're the first people to use it. And they were like, so there's that, you have faience. You also have Kemetic blue, also known as Egyptian blue, which is a space that is not necessarily piezoelectric space, but it's adjacent. But then when you're speaking directly to piezoelectricity, the material that the pyramid is made out of is piezoelectric. So, that opens up an exhaustive list of possibilities, especially with the new, infrared tunnels or cities or, whatever is supposed to be under there. And, so there's a plethora of potential applications that they were doing, what I'm saying, that we could just speculate on. In terms of what we can do with piezoelectricity, I would just kind of leave that up to each person. But for the people way in the back that may not know what we're talking about, piezoelectricity is basically, to simplify it, is converting sound into electricity. That's what piezoelectricity is. It's material that's able to take pressure, and turn that pressure into electric signals. So any sort of pressure waves, and you have basically two types of waves. You have electromagnetic waves, and then you have mechanical waves. Mechanical waves would be more in the space of acoustic or pressure waves. And so there's a zillion different applications for You know what I'm saying? Like it's limitless, you know, on what we can do. I think what's important for us to understand is that our ancestors were already playing with that stuff, and to get our babies interested in those studies, because once you get the mind to going, it goes in, so you'll get, for instance, we got a lot of people, our babies, our young men, they want to be in the NBA, right? So offhand, and somebody will do this and won't give me no money, but here's a book, and that's why I don't like to throw out potential patents and inventions. You know what I'm saying? But you could have piezoelectric sneaker soles. That would be amazing, because piezoelectric sneaker sole would convert the pressure of running and jumping into electric signals that your feet can take in, because your feet are designed to take in those type of signals, and convert them into antioxidant type of activity, especially through your lymphatic system, which is the reason why you had a whole movement for grounding or screwing in, which is going barefoot on the earth and blah blah blah. So there's a lot of applications for, like I said, that we could tap into, but each person would, their mind is geared towards whatever they're interested in or passionate about. They would make inventions to innovate that particular space. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's just something right there for a young basketball player. Now, in terms of the body being electromagnetic, that brings us back to spirituality. You know what I'm saying? That's what spirituality is. And so the initiation of electromagnetic activity in the body starts with the breath, right? So the blood is iron based, right? So you immediately have, a rabbit hole to go into of study in terms of the iron in the blood. And early blood studies and heart studies would tell you that the magnetic material in the body was not active because it was too small, whatever. But now we know totally different. We know that the blood is magnetic. We know that the heart is magnetic. We have a series of books on it, in terms of redesigning our understanding of blood flow, right? Your heart is the strongest magnetic, it emits the strongest magnetic field in the body. And when blood is oxygenized, it becomes diamagnetic. Diamagnetic means that it is repelled by magnetic fields. So when you get oxygen to the blood, that helps, or maybe even initiates, the blood shooting away from the heart, because the heart is a strong magnetic field. So diamagnetic material is going to be ejected from a magnetic field. When blood delivers its oxygen, it becomes paramagnetic, and paramagnetic material is drawn to a magnetic field. So again, once the blood delivers its oxygen, it is now drawn back to the heart, which is the strongest magnetic field in the body, which answers the riddle, because people that understand, they know that you have 60,000 miles of blood vessels, and the heart pumping, no matter how strong it is, it just never totally satisfied the how to blood movement. But anyway, that's a part of the body being magnetic. Your blood carries iron, and that's what allows your body to even be able to bring the oxygen in, is the iron in the blood. So there's magnetism right there in its best self, in its purest form. But I would say the space where a person can walk away from this conversation outside of my books and open up the rabbit hole is where they have actually been teaching the positive and the negative of electromagnetism in biology and biochemistry for decades, and that's under the title of redox. So redox is a term used to teach the electromagnetism in the human body without actually saying electromagnetism, right? Because when you get deeper into it, you have your redox, which is reduction and oxidation. And reduction and oxidation, in a very simplified way, can be broken down into your positive and negative, which is the thing that kind of makes hydrogen so special, which is why our sun, stars are primarily, or young stars anyway, like our sun, is primarily hydrogen. And we use hydrogen for energy. That's the whole purpose of eating and breaking down, metabolism, is because we're going to take the hydrogen atom and we're going to break the hydrogen atom in half. And we're going to circle the electrons. They're going to go through the electron transport chain. And the protons are going to go from the inner matrix to the outer matrix and then cycle back through ATP synthase to recycle ATP. And then at complex 4, the electrons and the protons will be reformed by oxygen back into hydrogen and form brand new pure water molecules. So every day, every moment, every second, we're breaking hydrogen atoms down and putting them back together again inside our mitochondria. That's how our bodies produce energy, just like the sun. So that's your positive and negative right there. Now, you can go into other pockets with it because you have an electron transport chain, which means you have a flow of electrons, you have electricity. Anytime you have a moving electric field, that moving electric field is going to generate a magnetic field. Anytime you have a moving magnetic field around a conductor, you're going to generate electric current. Anytime you have alternating electric fields and magnetic fields, you're going to generate light. So you always have electricity, magnetism, electric fields, magnetic fields, and the production of light in every area of a living human body at all times. So, yeah.
That's hard, man. Shout out to Team Naga, man. I know they was here for this, man. Y'all missed out on this one. But I just wanted to ask you transhumanism, pros and cons. Because I feel ultimately, because I believe white supremacy still exists, right? I believe that technology, exactly. And so technology is, leading in the direction that it is being funded. And I believe that due to an irregulation of relationship to the earth, people are starting to depend on artificial intelligence more than biological intelligence, because biological intelligence is a lot less comfortable. And so I'm thinking ultimately the thing is to, and I know you said that you don't look at the body as a vessel that holds the spirit, but like that light that animates your body, that I feel like we truly are. We are our flesh, but we come and leave from flesh. That's just life.
Well, the flesh, in my studies, the flesh is creating the spirit through the process of respiration or inspiration. So that's why Kemet has it on its walls in the fertility clinics. And that's why the Bible has Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. They're kind of saying the same thing. So I'm not necessarily totally in disagreement. Like, that is not founded in reality. It's just a slightly different perspective on it. Like the spirit is not something like, because, on the internet, it's a big universe and people teach all kinds of stuff. And so I know that the chakras is gobbledygook. And I know that people who teach chakras as real stuff use ideas like the spirit and the body is different. I know that people that teach you know, that people that teach body dysmorphia, right? And I'm not a big proponent of body dysmorphia. You know, they teach that spirit and body is different. So you could have a spirit that's in the wrong body. Like you could have, you know, and so you get into those conversations where, oh, well, you know, I accidentally got a man spirit in my woman body, or I got a woman spirit in my man body, because you know, spirit and body is separate. And so for a lot of different reasons, I just try to I try to be super specific when I talk about that, you know, spirit in the body kind of thing. So, but you know, I feel like, you know, based on everything I've learned over the years and what our ancestors are saying, is that you definitely have, you know, energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Yes.
So
transfer.
Right. So there's definitely a essence that is that can go on, that can possibly go on post flesh,
and that pre-existed the flesh. Okay, that's where it's at. Because you're saying that the body is creating it. What I'm saying is that the body harnesses the energy.
Yes, the energy definitely exists, but I'm not sure that the energy exists in the form of what we would consider consciousness, which also has our personal traits and personality.
No, I would agree that the true energy doesn't. It steps outside of that also.
Right.
That leaves with the flesh. Separates with the flesh.
Yeah.
Personality and preference, sense of humor, logic, all of that leaves. It's complete obedience when it comes to energy. Right. We have the freedom to think and be wrong. Energy don't do wrong. So it's like, okay, I could get that. But ultimately, I feel like transhumanism in the wrong hands is leading to artificial bodies being able to harness that energy and not allowing you to die. You will be in a maintainable, updatable body, and you will be someone's sex robot that they send in the grocery store to shop for them. Not in control, but conscious. But they're making these bodies trying to complete artificial life. Yeah, they're trying to get artificial life, but life can't be artificialized. It's only one life, right? That energy. But if they could harness that energy that jumps into a woman at the time when that baby gets a soul or a spirit or however you want, that energy, that's doomed for me. So transhumanism pros and cons, with that being my concern.
Man, that so all right, so I would have to separate out some of those things and address them like individually, because I feel like you put that's a lot right there. Transhumanism, that's like boom. So transhumanism is a thing, but transhumanism has been a thing. Not being able to die, right? We both just agreed that energy can't be created or destroyed.
Yeah.
Our ancestors, especially going back to Kemet, in Kemet, they taught that there's no such thing as death in the West. Our concept of death didn't exist back then.
Our concept of death, we have already been that. You were the same thing after your flesh doesn't exist that you was before it existed. That same state. So
well, American or Western idea of death is just, like you turn off your laptop, it's just done. You know what I'm saying? So, those things are different. You know what I'm saying? I think image and likeness. Has, there's going to be new battles and new conversations and about copyrights and trademarks and what it means to own someone's image and likeness. The people are not going to be able to hide the true value of image and likeness any longer. It's going to come to the forefront, and we're going to start to realize, maybe what has drove some of our artists back in the days to drugs and even maybe, offing themselves.
Yes.
Because they realize what they sign. And sometimes we in the conspiracy theory space, we're like, oh, well, you know, Illuminati, they had to sold their soul, and because they sold their soul, that means they took it in the butt, or they must have, you know, they must have blew a pipe, or you know, they doing a homosexual sexual act to sell out to get to the like. No, that's so stupid. If a homosexual if a homosexual sex act was what led you to millions of dollars, there would literally be no broke gay people. Like, and what would selling out look like for a gay person? Like that wouldn't even be selling out. That'd just be like a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that don't even make sense. But somebody owning your image and likeness, you know, that is a conversation that, you know, we kind of touch on in a couple of our books. We talk about it a little bit in the new book, One God, but it's really having to understand the conversation about slaves and free labor and you know, that conversation. So that's what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to get into that whole conversation, because if we look at wealth, at least the past 5,000 years, wealth has always followed sugar and diabetes. From the time where Kemet had the wealth to the time where the Arabs got into it, to the Europeans, to America, like whoever's controlling the sugar and the diseases associated with sugar usually has the wealth. You know what I'm saying? And all of the things associated with it. You know, like Dutch East India Company was able to not necessarily engage so much so in the actual trade or in the actual sugar plantations, but they controlled the trade and the movement of things. And so that's where you kind of get into a Moorish conversation. And I think that most of the people trying to teach the Moorish paradigm, you know, they get lost in the information because it's one dimensional. They can only tell you like history, but they can't really back it up in terms of finance and biology. So they hit a glass ceiling. But, you know, understanding the Moorish Navy, the Moorish Navy and the rise of the Portuguese Navy and you know, the British Navy, understanding navies is very important to the same conversation, because you controlling wealth and wealth, especially fiat currency, it's only as good as the people you control, because that's where power is at. That's where value is at. So AI allows everybody to have slaves now. Everybody has a slave. That's what they're promoting. AI assistant. Get the AI to do it for you. Don't worry about it. Get the AI to do it for you. So for the first time in human history, wealth is getting ready to be uncoupled from health. So you're going to see a massive spike in cancers and metabolic disease, no matter how much people know, because people are going to be moving even less. It's going to be more sedentary lifestyle. If you think people already had a sedentary lifestyle, it's getting ready to get crazy, because even people who don't exercise, they still go to work. They still go to school. So there's a minimum amount of movement when you got to get up, wash up, minimum amount of hygiene. You got to wash up, at least put on a little DO for the BO, you know, take the train or the bus or drive to work, whatever, sit through your. That's a minimum amount of movement and hygiene that people will not have to engage in as the world moves to AI, because your whole world going to be right on the laptop. So you could just wake up and turn on your laptop. You ain't even got to put on no clothes. You ain't got to wash your body. You ain't got to change it. You ain't got to move. You're going to be right there. And so your lymphatic system is going to suffer. Your collagen, all of the collagen throughout the body is going to slowly freeze. It's going to get crazy. But I'm a person that believes in AI. I'm not like against AI. I like AI. I think AI is amazing. I just think that AI is a tool that can cripple people, and it's crippling most people, because most people don't really understand that you know, AI is something that you can use. You're supposed to use it to work. You're supposed to use AI to enhance what you're doing, not, you know, like give what last bit of humanity away to AI that you got. But AI is not the monster. Humans are the monsters because the process that we're seeing with AI already started back when we had calculators. If you at home right now and you open up another screen and you type in what was the first computer, the first computers were actual people. Computers weren't electronic or mechanical. A computer was like an accountant. A computer was somebody who computed numbers, and it was primarily a woman-driven industry. That industry got replaced, you know, with calculators. And then, you know, as calculators became more popular, people started to rely on the machines to count for them. So it began with numbers and people became enumerant. Most people are not even familiar with the word enumerant. Enumerant is the word that means the same thing in terms of numbers as illiterate does in terms of words. So if you read, if you can't read, you're illiterate. If you can't count, you're enumerant. Most people have been becoming enumerant for a long time, to the point where it's commonplace that you go to a store, the person don't know how to give you back your change without the machine counting up the change. If it's 47.35, they need the machine to calculate, oh, he supposed to get $2 and whatever. Like they can't, you know. So we already started back then with giving the machines the responsibility to count for us. Then we moved from there and we gave the phone, well, even before phones, because at first we had phones, but the phones wasn't that deep. So we still had to have a planner and a phone. So we started letting the planners remember dates, times, phone numbers for us.
Write for us.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So we stopped remembering. So first we stopped counting. Then we stopped remembering. Then we start going voice to speech, you know. So now the computers start writing for us. And so, you know, the AI is just the last one to where people believe that the AI can. And before we even get to the AI, people start getting audio books. Like, yo, Doc, yo.
So now you can't count, you can't write, you can't read.
That's right. You want the machine to read to you. Like grown adults, they looking for audio books because they don't want to read the book. They need they want the machine to read the book to them like a bedtime story. Like, yo, Doc, when you gonna make more audio books? Never, because you need to read the book. A part of the information that you're getting is not even in the information. It's in the act of the reading. You know what I'm saying? And the way your brain is developed, when you stop using areas of your brain, those areas atrophy.
They recess.
Yeah. So as we stop counting, we stop remembering, we
you
stop
use it,
writing, we stop. Yeah. And then our ability to recognize patterns, which is the true definition of genius. You know, when they created these IQ tests and SATs and all these other fake tests to measure genius, those were for the caste and class system, not necessarily true genius. True genius is about recognizing patterns, creating patterns, recognizing and creating patterns. But we lose those abilities as we stop using the brain. So it's us though. You know, we getting soft. Like we outsourcing. We're voluntarily outsourcing what it is that makes us human to the machine.
Creativity.
We're giving our power to the machine.
Right. That's what threatens the AI paradigm, creativity.
So it's not like
original thought.
It's like, you know, like tapping our pockets or putting us in a sleeper chokehold, taking it from us. We're giving it away, sucker style. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I can't really fault the AI. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if we hit, AI makes it much easier for us to learn things a lot faster. But a big problem that we had, and this problem goes back thousands of years, is we lost the culture of being students, especially Black folks. if a black man is ashamed of being called a student, so they don't want to be seen as nobody's student. I'm the teacher. What you talking about? I'm not your, like, so we automatically feel away. So we don't want to be seen as students. And the thing is, if we don't want to be seen as students, then it's not possible for us to be seen as a teacher, because in order for you to be able to teach for an ongoing period of time, you have to continuously be studying. You know what I'm saying? Because the moment that you teach your students whatever it is, they your equals. Now that's it. What else you got? So in order to stay a teacher, you have to stay studying. You have to stay in student mode yourself, in order to constantly have something to share with people of value. So, and then you have the biological part of it, right? So it's a whole bunch of different things we got going on. The best example to talk about the biological side is the heart, because these conversations we have didn't start with us, right? And so if we go back 100 years, if we go back to the early 1900s and we look at some of the books and the comic books and the novels and the stories from that era, they was already talking about, Illuminati and transhumanism.
It wasn't even a secret.
Right. They was already. And so you had people back then, the same way we got people right now lying to themselves. Right? They lying to themselves now like they lied to themselves then. It was like, yeah, and I ain't putting none of that stuff in my body. You crazy? I ain't no, this the Illuminati. Guess what? When they get that heart attack or that high blood pressure, and they're like, listen, the only way we could save you is if we put this stent in your heart, or we put this artificial pump in your heart, or we put these new artificial valves in your heart. Sign me up. Sign me up. They automatically went to me, and my moms be having these conversations, because I be telling my mom, I'm like, Mom, you cyborged already. You got fake everything. You got, people get fake hips, knees, shoulders like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Even Elon Musk said it publicly on TV, called everybody cyborgs.
Yeah, they already, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you got fake eyes, and like it's
Right.
So when it comes to the brain thing now, everybody looking at the brain thing like, oh, I ain't putting no microchip in my brain because 666 is the mark of the beast. No, 666 is the mark of carbon. 6 protons,
electrons, neutrons.
So that right there is a whole nother thing. It's talking about what you learn or you don't learn. It's talking about the information that's in your mind.
Right. That's my understanding of the beast.
Right, because a mark is a symbol. And the symbol is it represents a body of information.
Right.
So everybody running around now saying that they're not putting the chip in their brain and all this and all that. Once they get, and health has already, we already see the trends. People now are more conscious of exercising. So the big problem now is the body is healthier than the brain. How do we know the body's healthier than the brain? Because people are losing their mind to dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. Meaning, otherwise, their body is fine, but the brain is going. So once they get the technology, just like the heart, to be like, hey, Parkinson's setting in, you losing your mind, but we can just go ahead and put this chip in there, and you got at least another 20 years.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. Sign me up. So, there's aspects of the transhumanism that's like, on one part it's nefarious, it's crazy.
Right.
Think of potential, like who controls that Wi-Fi?
Right. Facts.
Who control that Wi-Fi that's connected to Neuralink or connected to the heart pacemaker?
Facts.
There's a life-saving side to it, and then there's a part of self-accountability, because I tell people all the time in the health space, most people that I come in contact with that's anti-hospital, anti-doctor, anti-medicine, they really just full of shit. And the reason why is because they not really aggressively studying naturopathy. they're not really aggressively exercising. They're not really aggressively getting herbs and supplements and prioritizing, putting their time and their money into avoiding the need for a hospital and a doctor.
Yeah.
What they're doing instead is just talking reckless on the internet. Meanwhile, they overweight with high blood pressure. They got a fat pack of cigarettes.
Especially black men. They say we don't go to the hospital till we die.
And listen, I'm down with I'm not with the hospital, blah, blah, blah. If you're coupling that with I'm working as hard as possible to make sure I'm living as healthy as possible. But if you just eating Franks and sausages and chips, whatever, and you just talk about you ain't going to the doctor, or you on the clock, champ.
Yeah,
you just on the clock. Ain't gonna stop. And hopefully, when your heart does stop or your brain stops working, hopefully you don't feel like you got your life stolen away from you, because you didn't get it stolen away from you. You gave it away.
It was partner.
If you're not actively taking care of your body and stuff like that, then you do need some doctors. You need some
inevitable.
You need some pills. You need some patch ups. You need some patchwork. You might need a chip here and there.
Right. Right. You be akin to the scientific project, right?
And that's how deep it gets. It's just like today, how we accept getting a pill for depression. Imagine getting a program for depression, being neurologically linked, and they're able to say, "Oh, you've been feeling depressed. Well, here's the program, and you're happy."
Well, hold on. Let me say this. Let me take that a step further. We're already that's the same thing. It's just that we don't recognize the pill as a program.
But
the pill is a program, because the pill is going to modulate, like if we're talking about mental health, the pill is going to modulate, serotonin, dopamine, or norepinephrine. And once it changes the behavior of one of those, it's going to change the ability of how you think and how you remember, because dopamine and norepinephrine is what turns into neuromelanin. And neuromelanin is the processing and memory and all that stuff. So you can't change one thing without changing other things. So you're already affecting programming with the pill. You know what I'm saying? It's just we don't recognize the fact that when we understand our body as electric, it's not much different than a computer. It's not much different than a laptop. The only thing really different is what the unit is made out of. We don't really recognize the flesh when we look at a laptop or a computer or something like that, because it's hard and it's cold. But everything that's required for your laptop to work is required for your body to work. Everything.
And we have spirit, though. The machine don't have spirit, though.
The machine doesn't have, well, it depends. See, here's the thing.
And soul and so forth.
Most people don't agree on the definition of what soul and spirit is.
Yeah.
So even before you can have a debate or discussion on whether computers have spirit or soul or not, you'd have to come to an agreement on what those terms mean.
They simply don't.
If we find out that a soul is just a program, computers have those. But let me ask you this. Okay, conscious community.
Yeah.
Okay. You were very prominent in the conscious community. Me, myself, may be very ignorant on the state of the conscious community.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like gone. With the arrest of Michael North Jr., with the fall off of Pharaoh, with the that new wave of people who was fenced to take over and continue on. Now we have brothers like you, brothers like Unc, the brothers that was here. What is the state of the conscious community right now, and what do you see the future of the conscious community if it exists?
It is in trouble. If you include Unc in the same space with me, we in trouble.
We in trouble, bro. We are in trouble. Okay. Because it could have got nasty. I had some names, but I was like, I want that.
Unc don't know what he talking about. Listen, this is what Unc do. when you come on there and you talking with you're introduced because they got a new guy over there, and I just haven't had a chance to. We haven't bumped into each other yet on a platform yet, but I'm looking forward to the conversation. His name is God Energy, or something.
Yeah.
And they running that boy. Is running that boy in circles.
Who's a fan?
That kid got some new sharp information. And does people's research a disservice because he pretends like he knows what you're talking about. And it's so easy to see when somebody don't know what they're talking about because there's a digital footprint. And if you've been on the internet for 10 years and we could look at your content and see you have never discussed this ever before in your whole history, you got to stop pretending like you know what somebody's saying. You got to just let them shine in that moment and have their moment and their specialty and do their thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
facts.
When you talking, what these guys do is quickly look it up real quick because now we do have AI. So before AI, though, they was using just plain Google, but they'll look it up real quick and then come back on and try to argue with you about it. And what happens is when somebody argues, for the audience that's watching that's not into the information, because most people that watch the debate stuff, they watch for entertainment, not education.
Right.
It makes it seem like you're on equal with the information with the person you arguing with, because y'all both going back and forth. And the person watching, they never heard of none of this shit, but they know they never heard it. So it seems like, but Unc don't know 90% of what he be talking about. Unc is a very good conversation. You know,
and they don't use AI because AI goes against everything that they say. He likes to use Wikipedia.
Well, listen, don't hate on Wiki. Don't hate on Wiki. Listen, it's Wiki. User error. Listen, I'll just say the tools are good, but it's a lot of user error. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, if you're a novice trying to use something, you always are going to make more mistakes than somebody who's polished that's using the same thing. So a person that's polished and they talking about something they've been studying for a long time, they could use Wiki, they could use a book, they could use anything. It's going to make good sense because they're really familiar with what it is that they're talking about. A person that's just slapping it together, you could highlight the pages and put it in their hand and it ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? Because they just not familiar. That's why they're gonna mess up the words, and you can't mess up words that you familiar with because you're messing it up because you're not familiar with the vocabulary. You're not so
same thing with Cedric. Same argument we had with Cedric that day when I was talking about the fourth dimension, and he gonna bring up the space-time fourth dimension like it's the same thing. And I'm trying to break it down to him like, yo, we're talking about two different concepts.
Totally two different. And here's the thing. Sometimes people, like I said, it's just not letting other people shine. Sometimes you got to just be quiet sometime and let a brother flow. Like, wait a minute. That fourth dimension? Oh, shit. Let me see where he go with that. I don't know what he talking about. Let me sit back. And so, like, even when I'm getting the questions early, I'm like, okay, well, what do you mean by this? And what do you mean by that? Because I might not know what you're talking about. And that don't mean because I don't know that you are incorrect. It just means I'm not hip yet. I'm not educated on that yet. So I got to let you flow. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that gotta happen. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I think that size still doing good because I think it's difficult. You know, and we watch Sai fall out with everybody over the years, but I think what Sai's doing takes a unique type of personality because I personally. I don't think that I could do what he's been able to do in terms of having a platform where only other people get to shine. Like on my platform, it's going to definitely have to be about me. You know? I can't have a platform where I just keep highlighting, you know, sauce and then A1 and then I'm highlighting this one and that one and I'm like, ho. Half of these shows going to have to be about Dr. Enqi. You know what I'm saying? I think it takes a certain type of personality to just create a platform for people to come and either kill themselves or make themselves into somebody that's, you know what I'm saying? But here's the mic. Now be careful what you say on it because, you know, the sharks and piranhas is in the water swimming, but here's the mic. You know what I'm saying?
So,
But yeah, so there's that, and then with Polite, well,
Hey, Polite.
Polite is, Polite is doing his time. So, there's that, you know what I'm saying? I was one of the most vocal people, dancing on his grave, so to speak, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But he's doing his time now. So,
But he gets out in 2 to 3 years. What?
Not exactly. Florida's a little bit different. His sentence is up, but he may still have to go to another type of facility depending on how his time goes, because sex offenders or people with children abuse, because he got the weird thing that he copped out to where it's not exactly this, but it's not exactly that. So he might have to go to
in law. Yeah.
He might have to go to another facility for some time or whatever. But Polite represents a type of person. You know what I'm saying? So if you notice, Polite was just the beginning. Nature Boy got 40 years.
Yes.
Pharaoh escaped time by becoming a drug addict.
Older mine just got caught masturbating on a fucking train in front of a minor. Yeah.
Like, yo, how do you get caught on a train? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, and not what are you doing from a PDF perspective or anything, but what are you doing from a person that knows, like, you in
all
this
eyes on you.
You in this space. So even if you have that affliction, because that's an affliction, that's something that's in your mind you can't get out. Even if you have that affliction, how is you on the subway, champ? Like, that's a cry for help. You asking somewhere because you like, it's just no way. It's just no way. It's no way. Respect to whoever that girl was or whatever the case may be, but she wasn't that beautiful. So clearly that was a cry for help that he need to be put somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not, he needs some treatment or something. He needs something. If not just to be locked away from everybody else, but he needs something, you know what I'm saying? But there was other people that, see, here's the thing. We know the examples, but we don't know the other people. Like, there was other people like Jamal something. There was another guy that he didn't do too big, but he got, and there's other people that we will never hear of that were following the examples of some of these people that's also put away because they was, you know what I'm saying? So, but that didn't necessarily start in what we call the conscious community.
Of course not.
That started with York and some of the other people that came before the conscious community. It's just that the conscious community got a bad rap because from the outside looking in, right? People think that the conscious community is a thing, and the conscious community is really not a thing. The conscious community from the inside, if you know the conscious community is a whole bunch of different groups of people. You got Christians, you got Israelites, you got Muslims, you got Kemetic folks. Like, bro, school me at the beginning of the show that now the Afrocentric and the Kemetic might be
different thing. You got the Nubians, yeah.
So the conscious community is really a whole bunch of different groups of people. You got the Moors, this one, and then you got the difference between the Moors and the Washita. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's mad different groups competing ideologically for what they believe is the best thing for Black, Spanish, and Native, indigenous, like they have a solution. I got a plan to help everybody. And so, yeah, listen to what I'm saying, damn it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the essence of the conscious community. But, the old school guys, they had other stuff going on, you know what I'm saying? And because the conscious community became made up of different groups, some of the people that were students of some of those other teachings came in. That's why I'm very critical of all that chakra information, because the chakra information, first of all, is fake. But second of all, the chakra information is the mask that sexual deviancy wears in the conscious space.
And it's not over.
And so you have to watch. I mean, that's the red flag. That's the red flag right there. You got to watch that chakra, because soon as that shot, you just, it may be innocent. It may be innocent, but
that brown chakra is not innocent.
Well, and then you got folks that done brung it in, and you got to watch certain individuals, because you go, wait a minute. Now, Yaki, you supposed to be teaching health information, but you on Tasha K channel talking about men having a anal G spot. And that the anal G spot is good for your health. So, first of all, that tells me that you don't know anything about anatomy, because there is no anal G spot. That's number one. Number two, that tells me you might just be looking to have a scientific justification for some chakra activation shit that you got going on. You know what I'm saying? So so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's all these ideas just kind of like, that's masked and grouped into conscious community, which makes it crazy, because most people running around in conscious community, if you stop and ask them, hey, define consciousness, they're like, well, consciousness is, being woke. I'm like, ooh, okay. I'm no longer part of the conscious community. Let me just get out of here. Let me just get up out of here. I'm out. I'm out. Don't put me in there, because woke got a whole lot of stuff going on with woke. It's a lot going on with woke that I'm not down for. I don't support. So it's just, it's a lot of stuff that gets stowed on the conscious community, and then it gets stowed on the personalities in the conscious community. And, Sanetta's a unique character who's had beef with everybody over the years, but there's a lot that he has to wear that he doesn't really have anything to do with, because he's looked at as the father of the conscious community. So once something happens, it's like, damn, Sa, look what you done did. You done, you know what I'm saying? So, it's, and some stuff Sa do be doing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, Humble Man. Shout out to Humble Man. I do want to respectfully just value the brother's time. I really do. I know Enqi be rocking out, man. I don't want to cut shit short, but out of respect, man, Humble, I want you to be able to engage with the brother. You understand what I'm saying, man? Do your thing.
Yeah. This is the last one. I gotta go because my babies is on me.
Most definitely. I ain't gonna be long.
Hold on. Before you go, we gotta appreciate Sa, because even over the years with all our differences, we wouldn't have all this stuff and all these other platforms if we didn't have Sa. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta show respect to Sa for that.
I'll argue with you about that.
Yes.
But yeah, respect.
And I was definitely saying that earlier. Sonetta paved the way for the platforms, the one that I created right now.
I'm still looking for Zion Lex.
No matter what, at the end of the day, homage got to be paid.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
It's like,
I ain't always in the clear, Zion. I don't know why you threw that out there and now you hiding, but I'll see you in the future. But yeah, respect, man.
Yeah, he said, I'm still looking for Zion. See, that's the beauty of the conscious community. We all walking around with a hit list, like, yeah. And let me know if you see such and such and such. Tell him to pull up on my platform, because he just said whoop, whoop, whoop. And I got the research. That's beautiful, because, like we can't stop being who we are. It's in our DNA. It's in our DNA to research. It's in our ability. It's in our DNA. And it's in our DNA to argue if we think your shit's suspect. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, let me finish.
And I would even go as far to say, man, y'all raised unknowingly, unconsciously, if I could use that word, y'all unconsciously raised dogs like myself, like my brother Ashe, like my brother God Energy, that's a part of the Bond Squad you were speaking about earlier. Y'all raised us, and now y'all raised us up, and now we're at a level, if I could use the word awareness instead of consciousness, we're at a level of awareness that we know how to do our scholarship. We're in the age of information where we ain't slow or behind anything. Because we study y'all, we know what to look for, how to look for it, how to plan out arguments, how to, prevent. This is why me and the bomb squad, when we was over on side, the first thing he said, man, look, we gotta stop letting the bomb squad up, y'all running everybody's way. That's because, bro, we became battle ready by watching people battle all the time. The Dr. Enqis, the Polites, the Shakas, the of the world, the Jabari Ozazes. We watched y'all and we took that energy, we took that passion, we took that love or that zeal for knowledge, and we like, I want to do this. It's better than dribbling the ball or shooting a gun or, doing what we do in the streets. I found y'all brothers was some amazing role models for brothers.
Y'all gonna be better than us. The generation behind us failed because we failed them. The generation behind us is the Nature Boys and the Pharaohs. You know what I'm saying? They got in and their thing was to, clicks and views.
Right.
Clicks and views, and that was the thing. And the idea is hopefully y'all generation coming behind them, you'll do it, based on what you're passionate about. So that way, if you have a channel that you only get 50 views, or if you have a channel that get 500,000 views, your information and research will still be, at a high level and fresh, and you'll still keep it popping, because even if nobody's watching, you still doing the research for yourself because you love what you're doing.
I got one more thing, Dr. Enqi, and I'm gonna close out with you, brother. Yep. What's up with that debate that you had with Jabari, bro?
I beat the brakes off.
You better stop that, Enqi.
Listen, the thing that happened is, we saw something that we never saw before, and so, it's hard to wrap your mind around it. So each person got to deal with it however they deal with it. But we had a debate topic. Everybody, got the flyer. There was only one flyer for the debate. They had 2 questions on it. Very simple. When we get to the debate, there's 2 debaters. One debater addresses both questions. The other debater comes in with a whole nother question and whole nother topic and says, nah, this is what we really supposed to be talking about. Is Jesus a real person? Like, hold up. Is that on the flyer, brother? No, that's not on the flyer, but on the secret phone call, you agreed to the... I know, but on the flyer, brother, what is on the flyer? When people paid for the ticket and they got the email receipt for what they paid for, what does that mean? That also has those same 2 questions on there.
Right.
So he had to make in order to seem like he won a debate, he had to make it seem as if we were supposed to be having a different conversation. But really what that is about stale research. And Jabari had gotten so comfortable to the point where if you look back at Jabari's, last 10 or so debates, you will notice that Jabari just been reusing the same slides over and over and over and over again. And he's been getting over because, I've got this many degrees or this, that, like he's using other things. And so it really was just lazy scholarship. And so when he got in there with me, I purposely, and you can hear it through the argument. Well, Enqi, you didn't want to just talk about Jesus, so we had to agree to Christ. Exactly. Because I know that for the last 15 debates, you've been having the same dumbass Jesus conversation. So I wasn't going to limit. And he kept saying, Enqi, but you a Christian. I'm like, no, I'm not a Christian, bro. Yes, you are a Christian. So he wanted to have a New Testament debate, and that's not what I teach. That's not, I go into the Bible, but I also go into the Old Testament. I go into to Kemet. I'm in the walls of Glen. Like bro came in earlier to debate me a little bit on I'm all over them space. So if I'm gonna have a debate with Jabari, who's a legendary name and figure, I come in there with my hands tied behind my back and make a debate about a subject that's not even what I talk about or teach. Like if I'm gonna go in there with Jabari, we can ready to throw it all on the table. So we can deal with that a little bit, but no, we got to modify that because Jesus is a person, Christ is a title. So let's have a conversation about the title Christ. Where was the title? The origin of that is a more of a conversation.
Right.
Because the title Christ, before Jesus had the title, that title Christ was in the Old Testament. Before that title was in the Old Testament, it was in Kemet. But so there's a process with that, and that process has a lot to do with bioelectricity and a lot of different, so there's a lot of different nuance factors that I wanted to bring into the convo that conversation allows me to do that a Jesus conversation doesn't.
Right.
Right. We were going back and forth to decide a title. Jabari kept running from everything related to science, which is my expertise. And so the Christ conversation allows a bridge where I could bring in science, because when you talk about the opening of the mouth ceremony, the instrument that is performed the opening of the mouth ceremony with is iron. And iron in Kemet was viewed as a divine metal because it was magnetic.
Right.
So now we get a magnetic conversation. Now I get to bring in traveling waves and standing waves, and I get to talk some science shit and make it more reason for people to spend their hard-earned dollars instead of
that makes sense.
Ready to debate about some shit that literally is 1,000 debates already. Was Jesus a real person? Like, what is the Dr. Enqi version of the same conversation? No. We're gonna have a new conversation. So we could bring in some new facts, some new information. So even if we're wrong, we got new arguments, new rabbit holes, new areas of research, opening minds, stretching minds open. So yeah, Jabari had to, and then the crazy thing is, the same thing Jabari ran on me, he ran on some other dude named Tahuti. So I'm like, hold up, man.
I was watching.
It's the whole same play. You done ran on somebody else, and it can't work out forever.
Exactly.
Some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. So what I did was I got side permission, and I ran the debate on my platform and a few other platforms. And, outside of when people just get to watch the debate without hearing all of the tricky conversation about what question is this and this.
Yeah.
You get the title of the debate, they see the flyer, they watch all 3 rounds. Nobody thought Jabari on even close. But
hey man, you had me thinking you was about to sue Jabari for a minute, man. Jabari talking about them secret conversations. You like, yo, why you bringing them up, bro?
Because I know it's easy to try to like edit a clip or try to make it seem like we live in a world where, so we had a contract, and it don't matter what we talked about. What we agreed to is on the flyer.
Right.
What we agreed to and what we sold to people, which is sometimes more important than even what we agreed to. What we sold to people is on the flyer. If it was supposed to be a different conversation, that conversation would have been what was on the flyer.
That makes sense.
And even if I said, and there's a whole nother aspect to it, even if you want to change the first question, right? Oh, okay. We wasn't supposed to be discussing Christ. We were supposed to be talking about Jesus or whatever the case. What happened to the second question? Because he didn't even have no slides for the second question.
That's a good point.
You didn't have no slides for the second question. I'm like, so hold up, we're debating this Jesus Christ. Was we supposed to be talking about Jesus? What about, is Christ the Word? Because you don't have no slides in your presentation for that. And the fact that question is there means that you're wrong about the first question. Because if our intention was to discuss Jesus and not Christ, why would the second question be, is Christ the Word? The fact that the second question is Christ the Word, means that Christ was the focus of the debate. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know.
Now that you put it out there, the way that you put it out there, it do sound less sketchy, But I ain't even gonna lie, Dr. Enqi. They was trying to make it seem like you was on some sketchy stuff, brother.
Of course, because listen, over the years, they have gotten comfortable with stealing my information, which is one of the reasons why now I have a way I do things. I don't talk about nothing until I already put out a book on it. Right. So that way there's no confusion about where the information came from. I'm published. I'm in the book. You can go purchase it. I have a date and a time when the book came out. So there's no discussion about who came up with this. I'm not going to mention it nowhere, not even on my platform, until I already released the book. Once I release the book, then I start discussing it. So what happens is I noticed the pattern with Enqi them, like I was saying earlier, when you bring new information, they quickly Google and AI it real quick and make it seem like they know what you're talking about. So what I've developed is defense. I'm not getting ready to give you nothing. I'm not going to give you nothing. You got to demonstrate that you already know it, or you have to come clean and say you don't know it. Right. So like with the debate with Enqi about Charles Darwin, I made him admit that he never heard of pangenesis before. I made him admit that he didn't know that Charles Darwin had a partner that co-wrote the paper with him, and a co-author. Like, so I know these things, but who my opposition? What I look like, and we in a gun battle and we shooting each other to try to kill each other, and I'm like, hey, you ran out of bullets, let me know. I'm gonna throw you a few clips just in case you ran out of bullets. I'm gonna share a few extra. Like, what I look like? Like, that's crazy. Nah. That's a fact. If you sign up for a debate, then you better know everything on this information. You better know all the main topics, and you better know the peripheral information, or you're going to get beat. It's not, you're not getting to peruse my mind so that I could teach you, and then you could come back to me. No, I'm going to have all these video moments where I show that you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. So when it came to the Christ thing, the main thing that I wanted to show with Jabari in the preliminary joints was that his idea and what he has been teaching is not 100% authentic Kemetic science, because Jabari doesn't know science. So he can't teach any version of science, whether it's Kemetic or Western, American, European, African, because he doesn't know science. Jabari knows Kemetic rituals, and Jabari knows the metal nature. But Kemetic ritual is not Kemetic science. That is totally different things. When we say Kemetic science, if we reduce Kemetic science to rituals, that disrespects the whole Kemetic culture, because this is the group of people that gave us surgery. They gave us medicine. They gave us anatomy. So when we say science, we really mean science, not goop mixed up mythological fairy tales. We're talking about actual science. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta put some respect on our ancestors in that way, and not denigrate what they left us by changing it to what we want it to be.
I agree.
Jabari was embarrassed because I showed that where he got his degree in spiritual studies, that is anti-African, and it's based in theosophical teaching. That's the Madame Blavatsky.
Right.
So he was embarrassed that I pulled that out, that he's a student of some people that were students of Madame Blavatsky, and that's where he has a degree from.
I just want you to know really fast, Dr. Enqi, that name has been circling around a platform called Bigo ever since you brought that up.
Of course, listen, every time I come out with some info,
now everybody following Madame Blavatsky.
Of course, because they realizing like, hold up, Enqi wasn't bullshitting. Just wait a minute. And when Jabari, like, there's a point in us going back and forth on one of them preliminary videos where he's like, Enqi, why don't you tell everybody the name of Madame Blavatsky book if you know it? And I don't say nothing. People was mad, like, Enqi never answer questions. I'm like, because sometimes a part of the strategy is to get you to put your weapons on the table in advance, so that the person could disarm you, and then by the time it's showtime, you can't slap them upside the head with it. I knew that the name of the book that he wanted me to say was Isis Unveiled. But I also knew that it was more of a dagger against him because I knew what Madame Blavatsky unveiled ISIS as. Madame Blavatsky teaches that ISIS is a like a transsexual, male female, and that Osiris is a male female, and that Horus is a male female.
Oh, stop, Dr. Enqi, really fast. This is very vital to what you're talking about right now. 2 days ago, a couple days ago, a couple shows, right? We've been having this guy by the name of Psychic. And this is literally the framing of my state that Psychic says. When Psychic says, oh, I am under ISIS. And that's, bro, go ahead, brother. I just wanted to point that out.
But see, look, and so people get to pretend like they somehow a genius or they came with some new information from somewhere and razzle dazzle folks. If you don't know where all these schools of thought come from, you know what I'm saying? So people get misdirected and they're like, oh, the Masons is doing this. No, it's not the Masons. It's these people that you already love and you think they, your Kemetic scholars and your Black history. These guys is the ones teaching you this Beverly Randolph and what's the guy named the white guy Aleister Crowley, and they recycle and all that stuff and package and putting black packaging on it and bringing it into the conscious community. And listen, if you want to study those things, it's nothing wrong with that. As long as you ain't hurting nobody, you're doing your own thing. But don't try to package it a different way, and then you tricking people, and then you wind up getting 40 years in jail for sex crimes because you done taught people to come follow you into the woods, and you're going to activate their chakras and all this kind of foolishness. And then what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So it's like gullible people following that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, no, it don't fit together. You can't say you following Dr. Sebi, but you doing the keto diet. Yeah. It's nothing wrong with doing keto. Do keto if you want to do keto. But you can't say you follow Sebi and you're doing keto, because keto is all fatty acids, all amino acids. So if you following Sebi, how you consuming a diet of nothing but acids?
But acids, when he tell you don't do that.
Now listen, I'm not saying that it's not healthy or good or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying, if you saying you doing this, you can't do that.
Exactly.
That's all that is. If you doing the Kemetic thing, you can't bring in chakras, because chakras is not Kemetic. That belongs to Indian folks. Let the Indian folks that's teaching Kundalini and all, let them do that thing with what they doing. Don't mix them things up, because that ain't the same work right there. That's beyond step.
Hey man, people do that with the Nagas and Hopi, and people will take the Nagas and they're like, yeah, y'all know that's Hopi, and the other serpent that's on the head of the pharaohs. And I'll be like, bro, y'all gotta stop with that, man.
Yeah, mix all that up, man. Because the thing, and this is another thing, and I gotta go, but it's another thing I was asking Jabari, because he gets away with playing these word games. Because again, most people is illiterate. They're not really used to digging into and holding people to definitions. So it's like, oh, the Neteru is forces. They don't actually exist. I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, forces actually exist. Electromagnetism is a force. So you cannot say that the Neteru are forces and then say, no, they don't exist. Right. That's then. Secondly, identify the forces for us. Like, which forces is which? Just lay it out for us. Which forces is which? Because we want to know that, Mr. Kemetic scholar. Lay out the forces for us. How does the forces thing work? Now you get into the science bag.
Right.
So I want to bring you over there into the forces conversation, because I live over there. So I want you to come down Forces Alley and talk that forces talk with me. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah. All right. Look. Come on. Look at the people, because they might think I'm lying. Come. Look. Look at this boy. He want to get his hair.
Hey, peace to you.
We about to turn them over to you, brother.
Work-life balance is important. So we are going to let you go. I'll put my number in the private chat. If you can grab that.
Yes, sir.
Shoot me a message so we can get you scheduled to come back and promote your book.
All right, yeah. But listen, stay tapped in with knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tapped in because knowledge is going. You know, that's my guy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'ma ask A1 if he can shoot you my number too, Dr. Enqi. Text me too, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got
All right,
you.
brother Enqi, good to see you again, man.
Peace to the family. And listen, shout out to my people on my channel because we done live streamed this onto my channel. I know my people was probably looking at this from the beginning, like, what is Enqi doing? Even the title of what I put on my channel. And what is Argument Alley and what did I get myself into?
It turned into a big teacher lesson. So I'm glad you came through. You know,
good vibe. Yes, sir. Peace to the family. Shout out to Suave Boss. Yo, y'all gonna have to give my man Anu Kakaraka a rematch or something though, man. Come on, man. Y'all going crazy over here.
We gonna make that happen. Make sure you grab that number out the private chat. He already dropped down. And that's another episode of Argument Alley. You know how we doing it. I think you about to go live in a little bit, Humble.
I can. I most definitely can. I gotta find out how to do it again. For some reason, whenever I get doing the backstage in the stream yard, I can't find a thing.
I'll move some things around. We'll get it taken care of here in a second. I got you.
All right, just hey, you
King
already
Hurt.
know. Hit me on the back end. You can show me a little what up, and I get to it.
I'm about to call you in a couple minutes. King Hurt, have a good night. We're going to end with the song by Connie Sun, Same Heart. I usually listen to him on Spotify, but you can check him out on all platforms. Head on over to his Facebook and tell him A1 sent you. Again, this is Connie Sun, Same Heart. And remember my motto, treat your smile like your money. Never let them steal it. Peace.
Devil, whatever, how the hell did we just fall apart? You was my brother, know that I love you. I would've gave you my own heart, and I would've never owning it level. Think about letting that thing spark, knowing that we got the same heart. It's crazy we ain't got the same heart, and they the one taking the aim for it, and I'm the one taking the blame for it. They ain't got no shame in the game for it, till I come back around with that pain for it. You gon' pay for the time you was hating, you gon' pay for the time you was dirty macking, you gon' pay for the time that you hit on women, you pay for the time that you flipped on family. Karma gon' come your way, young nigga. It can be any day, young nigga. The way that you played your hand, I forgive you, but back in that sandbox, can't forget you. Killing my mentor, tell your little brother the issue. How did we go to them pistols? Know I'm official, know that I try to uplift you. Kinda knowing that I miss her. We was together, down for whatever. How the hell did we just fall apart? You was my brother, know that I love you. I would've gave you my own heart, and I would've never owned it level. Think about letting that thing spark, knowing that we got the same heart. It's crazy we ain't got the same heart, and I'm the one taking the blame for it, and they the one taking the aim for it. They ain't got no shame in the game for it, till I come back around with that pain for it. You gon' pay for the time you was hating, you gon' pay for the time you was dirty macking, you gon' pay for the time that you hit on women, you pay for the time that you flipped on family. One more hate, it really ain't gon' matter. More pale lips, just me, more chatter. Can't hold hands going up no ladder. I fall from up here, then my shit gon' shatter. I'm putting on for my whole family, but we on a different road, family. You told folk that I told family, but I never did fold when the folks had me 100. I never been fake in front. I told younger nigga make him something, you told younger nigga take him something, and he the one that took that from his cousin, and that there got the whole family fussing. Got big sis beefing with her brother, even through it all still know that I love you, but every second I think I trust you. I'm see, I'm smart in the game, you made it hard in the game. I'm loving, I started the lane, I'm hard as they came. Melody target they brain and they draw like a martyr with flame. How far I done came, you was not part of the blame, you was just part of the strain. You was so grimy that niggas ain't wanna come fuck with me, but you just part of it, and I'm the one taking the blame for it. They the one taking the aim for it. They ain't got no shame in the game for it, till I come back around with that pain for it. You gon' pay for the time you was hating, you gon' pay for the time you was dirty macking, you gon' pay for the time that you hit on women, you pay for the time that you flipped on family. We was together, down for whatever. How the hell did we just fall apart? You was my brother, know that I love you. I would've gave you my own heart, and I would've never owned it level. Think about letting that thing spark, knowing that we got the same heart. It's crazy we ain't got the same heart.
This Saturday, the Coliseum opens. 2 intellectual warriors, 1 explosive question, no place to hide. Honey Clark and Ben Eaton, they're stepping into the arena to battle over a question that hits the heart of America. Do government welfare programs help the black community long term? Is it a lifeline or a leash? Does it build generational wealth or breed generational dependence? Honey Clark is coming armed with data, history, and fire in her voice, ready to argue that these programs are essential tools for equity and survival. Ben Eaton steps in with statistics, economic theory, and a counterpunch philosophy, arguing that long-term empowering demands a different strategy. This isn't surface level politics. This is policy. This is history. This is legacy. Coliseum of Arguments. Titans Debate League. Titans Debate League, presented by Coliseum of Arguments, where ideas don't just clash, they collide. In one corner, sharp as a blade and twice as deadly on the mic, the verbal assassin, Leandre Slim Reaper McBride, a master of logic, a hunter of weak arguments, and he's coming to carve this case wide open. And in the opposing corner, crowned in confidence, swinging with conviction, the fearless fire starter himself, King Naga. He doesn't back down, he doesn't fold, and he's ready to defend his stance at all costs. The question shaking the arena, was the killing of Alex Brady justified? Morality versus law, emotion versus evidence, justice or just revenge? No scripts, no safety nets, just unfiltered debate warfare. This isn't a conversation, it's a showdown. Coliseum of Arguments, where only the strongest arguments survive. Are you not entertained?